TV screens up there and that. You never did put the one up there though. You were gonna put a big one up there, weren't you?
Yeah. And we're ready. All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for joining the Reinventing platform. We're here today, the what is this, the 83rd, 84th episode, 83rd episode?
83rd, I think.
83rd.
I missed the past couple, so
Yeah,
I can't
I
be
think
for
we're on
sure.
the 83rd episode. Today we are on location up at Dark Sky Studio in Michigan. We're at Johnny Andre's studio here. Would you like to take a moment and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Johnny Andrus, owner of Dark Sky Tattoo in Ferndale, Michigan. Thanks for having me.
Well, we've got kind of a fun show lined up today. Not a lot of like, we've been trying to stay away from a lot of like super tattoo talk. Todd and I have a tendency to accidentally have all of our good talks off air.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times we'll have like our like breakfast talk, just like chit chatting. And it's like, man, I should have hit record on that. I should
Yeah.
have saved that whole conversation for us.
Chuck should be here though.
So,
Chuck's supposed to be coming.
yep,
So
we've got Chuck Deasy joining us. There he is.
there he is. Soon.
He's connecting. He's here though. But
Hey, buddy.
there he is. Hey Chuck, how are you?
All right. How you guys?
Good, good.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you guys just fine.
Nice.
Excellent.
You've been collecting like crazy here lately.
A little bit.
It's just a little.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just yesterday, had another Garver session, and luckily for me, I just had one unfinished tattoo for the whole suit because I'm sure if you have OCD, you can relate when you have something unfinished and then you really want to finish it, but then I get like wanting to start something new, but sometimes you see someone with like 5 halfway done tattoos and I'd be like, ugh. Be like, get it done, finish it. I mean, if you're able to, I understand finances don't allow, but that's why that's the whole fun of the game is to try and balance it out, make sure you're able to swing it,
Oh yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
I've only got one incomplete tattoo.
I got one that I need to finish up too. Tony Mancia's on my knee.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I
I
give
have
you a
to
hard
finish it.
time every couple of weeks about Tony, right? Like, sorry.
Well, hey, at least I texted him a couple of weeks ago on that, and he said, yeah, he's trying to figure out his convention schedule and that. So I'm just waiting to hear back on him. So I'm gonna text him next week and see what's going on.
You don't want to
But
just
yeah,
probably get in
What?
sooner if you go to the shop. No, I know you do say you do want to do it at a convention.
yeah, I'd rather just get it done at the convention. I just don't want to have to deal with going through Atlanta airport and dealing with that huge headache
Mm-hmm.
because Atlanta's a
It is
huge airport.
It is huge. It is.
It's just huge. Don't
Yeah,
have to
but
deal with that. So,
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
so yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we've been having quite a few conversations though during morning coffee lately.
Yeah.
We've got a
We get-
few.
We get on a
interesting-
roll sometimes.
Yeah, we got a few interesting shows that we want to bring up. We'll talk about them later, but
Mhm.
yeah. For now though, it's just us and collecting, and we're at Johnny's shop, who's got an art show going on this weekend.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the art show a little bit?
Yeah, great.
I took some footage too. Once we get rolling, we'll switch and I'll share some of the footage of the
Awesome.
pieces around the studio.
Awesome. Yeah, well, we're normally a closed studio, doors locked all the time. So we figured, well, I guess it's probably almost a year ago, Ryan Metric, great artist that works here, brought up the idea of doing an art show. And so we kind of ran with it. And everybody here is doing something, has a few new pieces that they put out. And a couple of our friends from the Michigan area here, or the Detroit metro area, that is. I don't think anybody came too far. And yeah, we just are going to open the doors and let everybody see what we've been up to aside from tattooing on Saturday. So
Yeah.
It's fun.
come on, if you're in the area, come on by.
Yeah, definitely. I just did one of those for this Crop Circles is the name of the shop.
Mhm.
And I think it's, I don't know if it's Elmont, Queens, but it's in Queens, and they had like a reopening, and it's definitely cool just meeting some new people, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully we, just kind of get everybody kind of in the area around artist wise to kind of come out, check out the studio.
Is this the
Um,
first time you've had an art show like this
We
here?
did one right before COVID. And so
Okay.
this is the kind of the first event we've had since 2020. So this will be kind of nice to get everybody out. And we hadn't even been open a year yet in 2020. So
Oh,
we
man,
were
still in
shut
your
down.
infancy?
Yeah, I think I was open not quite 11 months, and then
Yeah.
COVID
Mm.
hit. So
Yeah, I was one of the first guys in here to get tattooed when he opened this.
I think I rescheduled one of your appointments because I was painting in here one
Yeah.
Paint's not dry, man.
Yeah, yeah, hey, that's all right. We got it done. But yeah, he's actually made quite a nice little interesting little shop here.
It's fun. It was I don't even know what it was originally in this building, but we got a big garage door that lets in a lot of light that's threatening to blind Fawn right now. But
Yeah, it's creeping around the corner at me, but it's all right.
yeah, it's a fun kind of industrial-ish space.
Yeah. It's a nice little thing. If you've been to tattoo shops in Michigan, it's very Michigan tattoo shop though. The way they partition the individual slots for the artists and that, yeah, it's very Michigan. I don't see it but in Michigan.
But that's just me not wanting other artists creeping up on me while I'm
No, I
working.
get
just
it.
feels like the clients keep moving closer and closer.
So, yeah. No, actually, I like it because it just keeps you in your little area, and it's just you and your artist. So, but it's still open. That's the other thing, you know.
Thankfully, the acoustics aren't too bad. So even when everybody's talking, you can still hear your client.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when we were in here earlier, there was music playing and we could still just like talk at a normal voice. It's nice. Makes it feel like nice and close and private, but it's still open and echoey.
Mhm.
I like it. You've got, I should have taken more videos of your plants. You've got plants all over the place too.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, if I can keep them alive long enough.
I mean, it looks like this one on the table is going
Yeah, the
crazy.
jade looks good.
That one's been going crazy. That one never dies. I've killed enough succulents though in here, and had to replace them in some of the other pots.
Here we are from up top.
Oh yeah, looking down.
Yeah, it's really a great space.
Mhm.
I love that you've got the I don't know, what do you call that? Like the balcony upstairs?
Yeah,
The
The photo
crow's nest.
studio. It's basically the photo studio up there now, right?
well, yeah, it's the office, and then we got a blackout wall with polarizer lights and filters
Yeah.
and stuff.
Nice.
Doing this.
All the
photo
tricks.
Yeah.
All the tricks.
All the tricks. the Instagram tricks, all about the
It's
flashy
all about the
photo.
gram. It doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter how the
Doesn't matter.
tattoo
No,
actually
no,
looks in
doesn't
real
matter.
life,
It's
just
just-
as long as
Just as long as it's good on
Instagram.
there.
Chuck admits that.
Oh, it's all for the picture. Like it's gonna heal like crap. Oh, I don't care. It looks great right now. Don't worry about it. You know. And then like forget about it until people ask for the healed. It's cool though. Like just
Yeah, well, Johnny's stuff heals great, so I can attest
just
to it.
hashtag the shit out of it, and no, but the thing is, like I'm kind of like put off by it, but at the same time it will bring people that like don't already know you if
Mhm.
you're interested in like growing your following. But then it also ruins it is the bots, like the same way that the bots ruined MySpace. It's like I guess people are starting to wonder, like there's always the grass is always greener on the other side. So now it's like TikTok, but like
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
haven't taken that jump yet.
Yeah.
yeah,
Have you?
I,
No,
I haven't.
haven't.
But some of the other guys here have.
I begrudgingly did, but it's just another like time suck. It's a time.
Begrudgingly.
Begrudgingly,
I'm not even
I
kidding. I didn't want to. I held off for months, but like I had to see what the fuss is about, and it's just like the same social media stuff. It caters to you know
well, we do know someone that does a lot of TikTok.
who's that?
Derb?
They're,
Yeah, Derb does more TikTok than anybody I know.
yes, he
He and his
does.
wife together, like they set aside time to talk together.
Yes. And some of them are really hilarious, man. I mean, to be fair, they are entertaining.
Yeah,
I
they do
mean,
they have fun with
definitely, they do.
They have fun with it. I don't have the time.
I don't have the time
like,
for that
if-
anymore, man.
If
I don't.
If I had the time, I wouldn't spend it on making TikTok videos. But like they love it and they enjoy it, and I giggle when they share
Do it?
stuff.
Yeah, but-
like I don't think I'm that kind of funny. Like we're gonna make some fake commercials here soon, but those are gonna be totally different than TikTok. Like they're gonna be like 4-hour niche audience, not really for like the
No
TikTok
offense to
audience.
Jer, but it just has a really narcissistic feel about being on that.
He has so much fun with it though.
I know.
He has so much fun with it.
If you know Derb, you know he's not. So, it's just,
Yeah,
but it is, does that have that element on some of those people?
Yeah, Derb's always been one to capture everything on video or photo.
Mhm.
But it's kind of cool because like I'll sit with him and he'll be like, look at this video off of YouTube. Look at this video off of YouTube. And he's like
Yeah.
uploaded all of these home videos from when he was like a little skater punk all the way through now. So like all those memories are there to share. And then all the people that were around him when those memories happened.
Yep.
That's the thing. Like it seems like it would come off super narcissistic, but when you see how much of his content and how many of his recordings are about the moment or the people he was with, or
Yes.
you know what I mean,
Mhm.
where it's not necessarily about when you see all of it in accumulation, it's really about the ride.
Yeah.
You know
it
what I
is.
mean? And
With it.
he's gotten really comfortable at sharing his ride,
Yeah.
you know.
Which is
that's
cool.
cool because
Yeah. I don't think in the moment to be like, we should get a group picture real
No.
quick, but that's Derb.
You're right.
We took over the studio,
Yeah.
remember?
So,
and sometimes someone at
but
like
yeah, I mean, I haven't gone on there because I don't know how many artists are really actually posting their stuff on there now. I mean, seriously.
There are a lot of artists on there, but like I use social media as like my portfolio. I don't really use it as like the interactive thing that a lot of people do.
Yeah.
It's an entirely different type of creative that I think I'm lacking in, to come up with an interesting way to do a little video to show a tattoo that I just finished doing. Like that's
You know what I would
Yeah.
rather do? Like instead of spending a few hours making a 45-second video for everybody to giggle at for 15 seconds, I would rather like call up a few homies and be like, hey, I got a day off. You want to go look at this waterfall?
Yeah.
You want to take a ride and smoke some weed and look at waterfalls with me? Like,
Yeah.
and not for nothing, but that's just,
That'd be great.
yeah. Like, I mean, at the same time, I'll get lost in other people's TikTok videos, but like, there's nothing about me that's like, you know what? I need to jump on this trend and make a dance video
Yeah.
like everybody else too.
for sure.
I don't feel compelled.
I don't feel that I have to jump on that ship to, I'm not that craving that much attention to have to put myself out there, I guess.
it takes work
No.
too. Like I thinking about it, like I wouldn't mind being
a good way to
in it.
connect
I just don't want to be the one doing all the editing.
Did we
That's what
lose
social
Chuck?
media.
No, he's there.
I'm here.
Oh,
I think
where's your
we
voice?
We lost your sound,
You
Chuck.
lost your sound?
Oh, it should still be there.
Wow.
No sound. That's weird. No, I have.
Oh, there we go.
All right, cool.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, I must have bumped our knob.
Yeah.
It was me. Sorry, Chuck. I turned you all the way down. Everybody
So,
else could hear you. We just couldn't hear
We
you.
couldn't hear you.
Sorry. That was my bad.
all good. All good. So I was saying, like, I wouldn't mind being in it. It's just all the editing, and it just seems tedious. And like you said, I'd rather be watching a waterfall. Like, I'd rather be doing something outdoorsy, or I don't know, almost anything else. But it's kind of like a career for some, like literally you could just, that's why I'm not too active, is because it's like when you're in the moment, you're like, you're not the one recording, but sometimes
Yes.
cool. Like remember in like 1995, there'd have to be one person with like the lunk, the 40-pound camera on their shoulder if they wanted to like have the to like trap or collect the memories. You know, they would have to like bear the brunt of that, you know.
You know how we collected the memories in the 80s? It was our Polaroid.
Oh yeah. Polaroids are making a comeback.
Oh yeah.
Seriously, that's how we collected our memories. I mean, we had no cell phones, none of that back then. It was a
Mhm.
Polaroid. Yeah. Or the
Yeah.
Instamatic.
I still have a couple of those, but I don't
I'd
know.
like to see the dinosaurs you took pictures of.
Yeah, right. Barney Rubble's right next door, you know. I should get a hold of him. But yeah, with social media, it's definitely helped our community. I mean, it's expanded and it's made it accessible to people.
Mhm. It makes it
I'm-
really easy just to reach out to an artist who you might not have even, like, first of all, you're going to discover more artists
Yeah.
because of social media.
Yeah.
But it also gives you this direct connection. Like if you see somebody's work and you love it, you can tell them, I love your work.
Yeah.
Boom, connection made. Where like
Mhm.
years past, where all we have is tattoo magazines and we could flip through and we could see the pages
You
and like
just
on the
go,
edge,
"Wow,
you
that's
might see
amazing."
what city
Yeah.
they're in, but you don't necessarily have the contact information to reach out to them.
Yeah.
Or whereas today, like even if people move shops or relocate cities, you know, that Instagram handle is still just like, or TikTok or whichever, but the social media handles are just an immediate way to like reach out and be acquainted.
Well, that's how I met Johnny, was through on social media,
Mhm.
seeing his work and going, wow, that's good. And I reached out to him like a year or two before we even made the appointment and go, yeah, I will get tattooed by you someday.
I suppose I'll allow it.
No, it wasn't like that, but it's like, I mean, it was just great work.
Mhm.
If you ever seen Johnny's work, you'll understand.
Thanks,
It's,
Todd.
it's amazing work. It really
Thank you.
is. So, you know, I love it just worked out the way it did. I wish I would have had more space and actually a blank space for him to work on instead of actually reworking something that I had worked on before. But you know, space is limited right now.
So did you already have space on that arm?
No.
And then?
No,
Oh,
it's been
Yeah,
like this-
he had some cosmic stuff. Up
Yeah.
there.
okay.
We did a
big cover up right here.
Okay. Because when you just said it was reworked, I think I
No.
forgot that there was even a cover up
Yep,
there.
he covered that up and then reworked the
outer
planets and
story.
that, and then redid the mountains and then actually redid that whole galaxy.
Love it. It's come
Yeah.
out so nicely.
It did.
What about
Got
the
like-
armpit?
What?
The armpit.
Well, that's coming, but it's
When?
I got a need to finish, so you know I can wait until then, and then we can figure that out.
Excuses.
No, it's no excuse. It's no excuse. It's you
It's
know,
not a race.
it's not a race.
It's
I'm
not a
not.
race. Chuck's racing. I don't know who, but Chuck's racing
Yeah.
somebody.
You know, I mean, I'm almost. You know, I'm 95% covered. I mean, what can I say? You know.
Yeah, next thing you know, we'll be like, I guess I'll probably end up with my head first, right, Todd? Or is going to be you? Surprise me.
Oh, I don't think I'm gonna do my head now.
Nah.
Nah.
After your neck. You don't need it.
Well,
You're
I
over
don't
it.
need it. I don't need it. And you know, I don't shave my head. And the prospect of shaving my head at 55 and then hoping it all grows back scares me.
Oh,
I did
man.
that at 40 for like 3 or 4 years. Like I want to get the side of my head done, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to shave it all the way off. Just
Yeah.
to have it not come back.
So, you know, I'm happy with my full set of hair at 55. So, you know,
Can't blame me there.
I'm not bald. So, you know, I mean, and again, I don't even dye my hair. I mean, it's still black as a
I probably have more gray than you do at this point.
probably. Probably.
So what do you have going on next, Chuck? Is everything all buttoned up for now, or are you in the middle of a few things?
I booked I had another like consult after the session yesterday with Michael Perry. So
What's Mike gonna do on you?
like probably a little fennec fox, black and
Oh,
gray.
nice.
No, have him do dinosaurs. He loves doing dinosaurs.
I mean,
Chuck wouldn't mind a dinosaur, really,
oh,
because
yeah, I just shared one today, actually, of a really like excellent tattoo of a dinosaur. But you know, the spot's like hardly anything.
minuscule, right?
Yeah,
I can get it.
sliver. So there's that, and then I have Masakrov is this Chilean artist that I booked for after the New York City convention. I wanted to do a blast over on one of my calves. Like it sucks when you love like the tattoo, like story behind it. You know, it's a tribute going with your family and whatever. It just doesn't. It's not like cohesive. It doesn't flow with the suit the way that I want it to. I just have like an idea in my head. I don't even know how it's gonna look because it's just your imagination. So I'm just running with it, and I'm gonna have to start like saving some more money. I think I'm gonna take the summer off and really think about like the head, because I'm like Todd. I'm probably gonna. I'm not that, you know, bald-headed guy, if you know what I mean. Like I'm definitely gonna grow my hair out again. I just think it'll definitely at least look cool on the sides. It's just trying to figure out. I have a loose idea of like a crane with like a tiger and
Traditional again.
yeah, likely. I mean, it's just the phase that I'm into right now, and
No, yeah, that works.
I have different you know, at different stages in your life you're interested by it. You're drawn to different styles, I guess. So I started out really broad and you know, loved every style equally. And so maybe like 10, 12, 14 years ago, I was really into hyperrealism, but I'm not a tattoo artist. So I didn't understand, you know, the limitations basically of skin. And I appreciated traditional Asian, but I felt, you know, when I guess the mid 90s, it was tribal. And then it was like koi fish was what I was exposed to, a lot of just,
Yeah,
so I
koi
figured,
fish phase.
yeah. So I was like, there were times where I just wanted custom work. There were other phases where I wanted just iconic imagery. Luckily for like the hyperrealism, you know, Nick Baxter, that would be, you know, I mean, my personal opinion, number one, if you're gonna go for like some difficult tattoo elements like that. And it's just you know, different strokes for different folks. I went through the color portraits, the black and gray portraits, mini portraits. You know, it's just, I think the saying isn't always true, but like you get what you get, because either if it's not good, you know, you could think, oh, was this done like in a kitchen, or like it could be done in a shop, not be good. You know, it's just, I don't know. There's so many different elements like all around the whole tattooing situation. Just,
well, you've been doing this 20 years, right?
25.
25 now.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, styles have changed over time and that, and back then, there was never really, besides Japanese bodysuits, there was never really a whole cohesive design of how you should do your body for a
Nope.
suit. There really wasn't. And even now the lines are still not defined completely.
I mean, it's rare to find somebody who like from their first tattoo on knows they want a bodysuit and they plan accordingly. I
Exactly.
think everybody gets a tattoo or they get a few tattoos and then they get bit by the bug and then they start working towards the bodysuit. Like I think there's like an evolution for most people.
Yeah, it's fun to be able to articulate how it sort of gets to that point, because I was already immersed in art history from elementary school on. So I was already I was like a crazy daydreamer and really introverted, didn't really talk to anyone, but I'd be like looking at art books, and then before I know it, it would be the next morning. So
Mhm.
it just I distinctly remember from Henry Matisse just gobbling every art book, and then I guess at 13 it was like a no-brainer to get tattooed. It was just like I don't know. Nobody asked questions. They let me. I mean, I got my inner lip and like a Nirvana one, I guess 90, somewhere in the mid 90s, like 96, around there. And nobody batted an eye. It was just kind of, it just felt rebellious when you're 13. So the inkling of getting a bodysuit, I didn't even know what that was at 13.
No one
seen
knew.
it. I'd never heard of it. I didn't know it existed. So
I can't say I didn't know it existed. It was just that was always Japanese bodysuits.
yeah. And like where I lived in New York, in Great Neck, there's no tattoo shops, zero. There's never been one. And sometimes like when I went to the shop yesterday, there's another one across the street. And then like Love Machine is one block behind it.
Yeah.
So like I just wasn't immersed in that. Like it was at McDonald's where I saw my first tattoo at 5, and my mom was like, "Oh, that's disgusting. He's a handsome man, but now he's ugly because he has that tattoo." And I'm like, what the fuck is that? That shit's kind of hard. Like,
Mhm.
so that like my 5-year-old mind was thinking, like, that's kind of gangster. Like, I kind of like it, And then I didn't really think about it, and then the art, and then it just kind of like snowballed.
No, my mom says, "Oh, he's got a tattoo. He's a grimy biker."
If you're the only tattooed like in middle school or high school, even if it's like a little, I had like the Nirvana smiley face on my ankle. Like I thought I was like,
You thought you were cool as shit, didn't you? You did.
Confidence.
Yeah.
Like, I still liken it to, it's kind of like armor in a way. It's like, you could still be your like same self, but outwardly it's just like putting something that's ridiculous. Like, so I guess I'm between like suit 3 and 4, because we're already cooking up. Like I kind of want to redo my entire front and back now.
No, the back, I can see it getting refreshed. That definitely,
Yeah,
see that happen. It's getting aged.
It was done like 15, 20 years ago, and then
it's aged
finished like 10, 12 years ago. So now we're refreshing it. As long as it's not every 10, 15 years that you got to refreshen it, but that's fine.
I don't want to refresh my back.
No, I don't. I never want to
I
do
don't
my
want to
back
refresh
again.
any part of it.
No, I mean, I have to. I've talked to Megan because she wants to hit the cards again,
Mhm.
and I haven't let her.
Yeah.
So I have to let her hit her cards again. And
You're not happy about that?
No, because it's on my back. I hate my back, man. I don't give a shit what anyone says. That's horrible.
Yeah, I started like the first session of the back rework, and after like 3-4 hours, I was just over it. It was just like that bitey, like
it's just torturous.
It's ready to be done.
Yeah.
yeah, like
I'm
Yeah.
over life at that point.
Do
Kill me now. I'm done.
you have anything on your back yet?
Oh, no, back's open yet.
All
Back's still
right.
open.
All right. Do
My
you have any
torso's
ideas for it
open
yet?
No,
No?
no, no.
When the time comes.
Yeah,
You'll know.
the left arm finishing my left leg and then the chest. So
Oh, that's always fun too. The chest is not the greatest fun in the world either.
The chest is kind of deceiving. Like there are some of the most challenging places on the body, on the chest, but there's huge open areas where it's not that bad.
True.
So there's a lot of the chest that's not that
Yeah, but when
bad.
you
It's
get up
just
by
the
the
places that suck
collarbone,
really
forget
suck.
the
Yeah.
collarbone. People say the
Sternum.
sternum was a nightmare. For me, it wasn't that bad, but at the same time, I have to do like a third pass on my sternum. The stomach is
morsel right there. Other than that, the sternum's okay. It's just that, like,
that little,
the
yeah.
solar plexus, it's
Yeah.
like the size of a racquetball.
But once they hit that bone, it wasn't so bad. It just rattled you inside. That's what you felt. You were rattled inside. But it still sucked because it's going over a bone. And you know, that's a very thin bit of skin and that between that and that bone there. It's not a very thick piece of like you do over your arms and that, you know, or anywhere else you got bones. That's
Yeah,
a
one
very
of the
thin
next-
spot.
For me,
Bones
is
are
gonna
so much better than like that soft, like ditchy.
No, I don't mind the ditch.
armpity, behind the knee.
Going over bones, that's the one that I just that hurt me.
I was worried about my ankle bone, but like actually like on my ankle bone where my Chuck Taylor tattoo is, that's not bad at all. But like you go behind the ankle bone by the Achilles, that's awful.
Oh yeah, that spot that brought tears to my eyes.
That Achilles area.
Yes.
It's one of
Jesse
those spots
Vickers
that
did
like
that area back there, and oh my God, I was like,
you kind of short circuit, huh?
yeah, I was like, as soon as he finished it, I looked at him and go, man, you actually brought tears to my eyes, dude. They didn't flow, but they were there. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, I
was
remember
like,
doing the
wow.
Achilles tendon, and I made the girl I was dating get me a 6-pack, and I finished it in probably like 10 minutes or less, and then like I made her get me
The whole
another one.
6-pack.
Yeah. I don't remember if I shared or not, but I was like, please, like, I threw money at her. I was like, get another one. Cause it was like, it was a space the size of like barely bigger than a quarter, but it turned into like a half day, a little bit longer even. And a lot of it fell out too. But
Oh, great. Mine didn't.
well, it was around the Achilles tendon and then the bottom of the foot.
Oh, I remember the one you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, I still love it though. I mean, the way that it's a pity that didn't
it fell out some of it.
but like the way it is still looks really cool because
It is.
I have this OCD and it was just like the size of a quarter. And if it's bothering me, it's not going to stop bothering me until like I do something about it, you know? So it's just, but now it's about tweaking and fine tuning and yeah, I thought I was going to be done by this winter, spring. And it's most of the way there. It's like when you're like so far in, you just gotta just throw all caution to the wind and just dive in head first. And like if I wasn't doing this podcast right now, I would be in Huntington trying to get a piece from Mayonnaise, like fiendishly, like, yeah, man, you got time for like 2 toes or
That's all I got left is 2 toes. You can either do it, please.
like a ear sleeve. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say when you're doing your ears, you know.
I think it would be crazy if I got like a Reaper in the ear. Like I haven't seen a really good one. I've seen some skulls in the ears that look cool, but not a Reaper. I just don't know if I have the ears for it. I think it would make a badass tattoo that I have not seen. And like I get joy at like just the creative, like trying to either collaborate with someone, like a bunch of people hit me with like, yo, centipedes, and I'm like, nah, like they're cool. I collect them in amber, but I don't want centipedes in my body. You know what I mean? So you go back and forth, like, all right, so
It's a bit boring. Centipede, repeated legs, you know.
Yeah. So you bounce ideas around, and then you like, I'm the one up at 4 a.m. like thinking about hojus and mystical assorted like Indian like totem like flails and shit. Like that was like one of my last tattoos, because so I was getting tattooed by Chris like up to like 3 times a week. And then I was also getting tattooed by my best friend Marvin Silva. And so Todd pointed out that there was still, even though like when I finished both butt cheeks, what did I finish it last month?
Yeah, it was last month.
Yeah, that was a whirlwind. Like I don't really remember too much of the past few months, but I know it must have been crazy. Like when I just, like sit down and digest it.
Well, you've got way more work than me since, I mean, we started our necks at basically the same time and finishing them at the same time. And, you've still been going.
Yeah, I thought you
Full
weren't going to do
throttle.
the very front of your throat, and you went ahead and did it.
Oh, well,
I noticed.
Well, okay. So here's the thing.
Here's the thing. There's always a thing with
I
Chuck.
told you
Okay.
to do it.
In my head, anyway, I don't know how everyone else's thought process is, but I have to like earn certain rewards. So like we did both sides of the neck, and I was like, man, I feel like I'm shortchanging myself, like finishing the neck, and I still have these like baboon cheeks hanging out that are just like wide open, like assless chaps or whatever. Like so. And then like my ex made me feel self-conscious about it. And then we broke up, and then I'm like goblin mode. You know what I mean? Like I already had like 3, I would stagger the bookings. Like I didn't want to have one appointment every 3 months. I was like, give me your next like 3 available. I don't care what time, you know what I mean? So then I'd have those in 3 months. Like, and then I would stagger it. So the next, like I'd wait till a month later, and then I'd be like, I want 3 more appointments, 3 more of the soonest ones. And then a month later, I would do the same thing. So I'd have like a rotation of like 9 sessions at one point. And because a big push for me was COVID for finishing. But anyway, back to the throat. I figure the throat is going to be like the dessert, like the ice, like that cherry on that ice cream sundae. And the throat is just like one of the most like visibly aggressive spots. I figured let's just bang out these cheeks, and then like as a reward, because I was going ham, like we would like dueling like both cheeks at the same session, and then working on like the clavicle or the neck or like
You're such a glutton for punishment,
Right?
man. Like, oh, I gotta mentally prepare myself for different body parts, and to just like spring them on my body in the same day. I feel like I'd short circuit and hate my life.
The thing is, you just do it, because like by the next day, the memory's already faded. Well, I don't know about you. By the next day, yes, I'm very sore. Today I'm very sore, but I have some crown, so that's helpful. So like, but I'm ready to get tattooed again. I'm not made out of money. It doesn't, fall off a tree. Like I gotta hustle and bustle and then.
Yeah,
But like I would be getting tattooed now by mayonnaise, like I said. It's just if you want something bad enough, you make it happen. There's no excuses. It might take 10 years, it might take longer, but if you're dedicated, committed, passionate, the same way people like dudes grow their hair for like 30 years and never get a haircut. Or like for heavy metal, it's like you want to be like indoctrinated into the heavy metal community. Like you must have waist long hair. It doesn't matter if you have an afro. Like you must grow your hair no matter how stupid it makes you look for 5 years. Ah, please. That
Grew
was
up with long hair. Were you kidding me?
Todd. You had long hair, right?
Yeah. So did you.
I had it to my waist. I was one of
Yeah,
those
he did.
people like, you look like a hippie. I'm like, I'll fucking show you. No, I'm kidding. Uh, nah,
Yeah, for sure.
hippies are fine, but
Yeah.
that reminds me. So like typecast. So yesterday after my appointment, I was doing like a little victory walk. I went to the 7-Eleven for a drink because I went in relatively sober. Relatively sober.
Relatively sober.
My my ride came like a half hour early, so I had like a few nips of the crown, and then I was out the door. And yeah, so I was having one, and I was walking back, and I stumbled into this like craft beer bar, I guess. And every fucking dude there had a beard, a plaid shirt, and a hat. And there was like 5 or 6 guys, and they're all, and like,
Individuality
10 Chuck walks
matters.
so this is why you become like your environment, you know what I mean? And that's why it's really important to be around people that you like admire and or at least respect, and I was like,
Well, that's the other thing. Our community. We all.
I was
got
gonna
that.
like
It's
have a couple too, but I was just like, nah, they're I could tell like they're not impressed by anything except for whatever rare beer is. So
presented to them. Yeah.
yeah. So, but it's fine. I don't really pigeonhole. But I was like I just read them like books. Like, all right, this is. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Like I was getting like, you get that euphoria after a tattoo session.
Mm-hmm.
You do.
And like, especially at tattoo conventions, like the everyone goes to the bar after, especially if you just went through like a full day, 7-8 hour ordeal, getting tortured.
You
Yeah,
go
my
to the
first
bar
thing is
after that?
I don't. I go out and
I-
smoke a big fat one.
Yeah, I usually go get baked, and then it's like, do I
Mhm.
want to go in people or do I want to just sit in my van and smoke again? I'll just sit here and smoke some more.
Yeah. Yeah, because the thought of drinking and then maybe puking later, nah, that don't. After getting tattooed, that
I
don't
don't
sound
know.
like fun.
Okay, but to be fair, when I've been tattooed at conventions, I got my head done, which is pretty rattling. I mean, Jesse Levitt's, he was pretty gentle. It was a great experience, but still, like when you have your head tattooed, it kind of rocks, yeah. And then my chest. So between like actually
Yeah.
having Adam and Ty both working on me at the same time, and like the crowd of people that was around watching, it was like
It's
almost like
jarring.
overstimulation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like almost too much energy from all these other people. And then when I got tattooed at Tattoo the Lou, like that crowd just was not my cup of tea. So like, and I was mostly nude most of the day. So anytime I wasn't being tattooed, I was just
Covering up.
kind of covered up with a blanket and either eating or drinking or
Mhm.
doing whatever the thing was. So like my convention experiences have been, I think they're extreme places. So I was too tapped out to be social after getting
Yeah,
work
that's-
done. I don't think I could have.
It's definitely like, I don't know if it's like a rite of passage or whatever. It's just, I think getting tattooed at a shop is way better. Like right off the top of that, you have better lighting. Like you said, the people, especially if you're getting intimately, like, if I'm getting tattooed at a convention on my ass and all these people are taking pictures and videos, it's kind of like, ugh. So it can like hurt the experience,
Mhm.
or like you could take away from it if you're able to find like a friend or two that walks by the booth and is able to kind of just like talk to you to get your mind off it. Because sometimes you're in so much pain, you can't even talk, or you're like stuttering. Like, but then you have a smile on your face because there's like some video camera like pointed right at you. I mean,
I always like it when I see pictures of myself getting tattooed and people are like, oh, you look so peaceful and serene when you're getting work done. It's like, I don't know
Bullshit.
what you see in that
Yeah, I
picture
don't
because
know.
when I see that picture, I see all the pain and torment in my face. There is nothing. That is my defeated fawn look. That is not peaceful.
I
That
got a
is-
time lapse and I can look at that.
You
When
start
Megan
out.
and Nam did that, and I can look at my face as it's doing it, and I'm going, yeah, that hurt, that hurt, that hurt, that hurt. I can see it. Oh, that hurt, that hurt.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that hurt. So yeah, nowhere in that video or that I didn't think I was feeling pain. None.
But what was your mindset?
It didn't look enjoyable one bit. I don't
Well,
know about
what
you,
was-
but
Were you not thinking, Todd, that it was going to hurt? Like getting.
oh, I knew it was gonna hurt. I was prepared for it to really just kick my ass. It really
You weren't
was.
prepared to have your ass kicked?
No, I was. I mean, I did. I went through it. I mean, I did the whole 10 hours. I did it. I mean, what did I not do? I mean, I finished it. I did it, Was I my ass kicked after it? Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's
Was I
part of
tired
the
after it?
skill, right?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to
But-
be able to sit through it? Like I've had 3 collabs so far. So it
I sat through it.
yeah.
It wasn't a big deal. I mean, I was worried if I don't know if I was, when I first went into it, I wasn't absolutely convinced 100% that I could finish through it.
Mhm.
I thought I could do it. I thought that I had enough willpower to do it, which ended up I did. But you always have that doubt when you go into something, a big project like that. I mean, it's my whole side.
So
All
are
of
we
it.
like like not daredevils, but thrill seekers in a way? Because if I wasn't doing this, I would be climbing Mount Everest. I would be doing the crazy.
Gluttons for punishment.
Well, to me, it was how much I can put my body through that I can endure at one time
Yeah.
through tattooing. I mean, 2 girls at once, tattooing me, giving me 2 girls at once. And, I wanted to see if I could actually endure that whole
Right.
pain
There's also
process.
like a curiosity element. Like, can you, like, that was a big part for me. Like, I never tapped. So in my head, it would be a game. Like, can you go the whole session without like involuntarily trembling? Yes. And then it would be 2 days and then 3, 4. Like, I just kept pushing it up to 5
Have
days.
you had more than 2 people work on you a time?
No,
No.
I haven't had 3.
I
Unfortunately.
haven't yet either. I don't think the opportunity is going to present itself for me to have 3 or more people work on me at once.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do more than 3 at
2's
once.
a challenge.
Two's
I
a
don't know. I
challenge.
don't know if I
mean,
could handle 3.
We know that guy that from the Rat Pack that had. I mean, well, Steve
Yeah,
Pelkey.
he works.
Yeah,
Steve Pelkey.
You did 6, right? Or 8?
Yeah,
I
6,
thought it was
7. It was 7, and his back. He survived that.
He
Yeah,
said
I
he'd do
was
it
there
over
for
again,
that.
Just to have his back done in one day.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you
that's-
got to be made to be able to endure that. You have to. Your mind has to be in that place to be able to put up with that pain. I mean, you got to be prepared for it. And if you go into it and you're not prepared to deal with extreme pain, then you're never going to get through it. I mean, when I with my collab, I knew it was going to be painful. I knew it was going to be long and everything else. The only thing was it wasn't color. I knew that I wouldn't endure the pain that I endure with color. So
Yeah, color is a whole other beast altogether.
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, realism color is a totally different beast
I mean,
when
what?
you get tattooed.
I have what? A practically full color suit, except for a couple of random things.
Yeah.
It's not. So also another thing is, it's not always about what you're into. Like, what if you're into a certain style, but the pigmentation of your skin is too dark? So it's not really.
Well, yeah, but that's
color in. So sometimes
No.
you also have to cater to your skin. So for me, since I'm such a white ass dude, like color pops. So I figure I might as well take advantage of my skin tone to try and get
Mhm.
like the best
Well, that's just it. I'm only half Mexican, so the darkness, I'm not as dark as a full blood like my dad. I mean, my dad could not have the tattoos that I have. They wouldn't look good on him.
So
Couldn't
it's
do
kind
it.
of, yeah, so it's kind of like not an edge, but it's kind of like the direction to go kind of is dictated by your skin in a sense.
Mhm. Oh,
Like,
it is
you
for
know, and
sure.
so some people think, I remember, I forget I don't know if it was a Greek artist, and he's saying, you know, like people took what he said like he was being racist, and he's like, no, I'm just showing you if I pump the values of color on dark pigmentation, it's not going to show as well. So like if I had darker skin, then it would be clear cut to get black and gray instead of color. I mean,
Mhm.
it would be like, you know, the Carlos Torres and Victor Portugal. Like I would get collabs from them, and also
But when you're dealing with darker skin tones and you have people that have color on it, right? With darker skin tones, they're not as dark as a darker person though, too. And that's why they were able to get color on them. And that's sometimes hard to convince a dark skinned person that's darker than that person that that's not going to work because,
it's not
well,
a
they got
racist
it.
thing. Like I
And
mean,
it's not a
maybe people
racist thing.
are.
It's just a matter of skin type. It is. That's all it is.
That's all it boils down to.
I mean, I remember this whole argument about Yoga Berra that why doesn't he tattoo dark skin? And he goes, well, I'm color. I can't tattoo dark skin like I can paler skin. It just it won't look as good. And he was
Yeah.
being honest. He wasn't trying to be racist about the whole thing. He was just being honest about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
I have
it's
them.
his work.
I work on all different races of people, and it's one of those things where, like, on the fly, I know I need to adjust my palette. Like, for instance, some people have more yellow to their skin tone, some people
Yep.
have more red, some people are more olive, and just using those three vague examples, like those are three completely different ways that I'm going to adjust my palette accordingly for what I'm working on. You probably run into the same thing.
Constantly. I mean,
Like-
it's always avoiding. I mean, as a whole, even just doing the cosmic stuff, I avoid doing light purples because the yellow tones in almost anybody's skin tone over time always make those light purples almost gray out.
Makes it a little bit
Yep.
muddy.
It
Yeah.
looks muddy, so it's always just amping that contrast level to get everything as vibrant and as glowy as possible.
Mhm.
No matter what we're dealing with, just to try and keep that contrast level up between light and dark, even with different skin tones.
Yeah, but there are moments where it's like, okay, well, I can tell by looking at you, I'm not even going to touch my yellow today. I can tell just by looking at you, we're not using any radioactive green at all. It's just not going
What
to
about-
happen. Like,
Does white also turns yellow, but it's also due to the sun. And
It's the sun. If white's sun, it don't turn yellow. I mean,
It's really, you're just seeing your skin tone, the
Yeah.
pigment in your skin
Yeah.
tone through the white. The white's white. It's titanium dioxide.
Yeah.
It's white.
yeah, that's one of the things that I like explaining to people is how our skin heals. Like when you see a fresh tattoo, if we were to remove the tattoo ink and we were to just look at the skin, what we'd be looking at is like that bright pink shiny skin, like after you scrape your knee, where it's like it's shiny. The pigment isn't quite the same. Yeah, the pigment isn't quite the same as the skin around it yet. Like it's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit pinker. And then as that tattoo continues to heal from the inside out, your melanin, the color part of your skin, the melanin starts deep in the tissue. And as it continues to heal, it rises closer to the surface. So what actually happens is the melanin sits on top of where the tattoo ink sits. So it doesn't matter what color you put into a person, their skin color is going to sit on top of that tattoo ink. And that's a really tricky thing to explain. But there have been a few photos and videos that have gone viral. Do you remember that picture of the guy who had a blue rose on his hand? The hand became burned, peeled the blister away, and the flower was beautiful and bright as if it was done that day.
Yeah.
I think that was a really good example of like how and where the color sits in the skin versus where the color of the tattoo ink actually sits. Like the tattoo ink isn't gone, it's there, whether it's white or yellow or orange or green, it's there. But the melanin, the color part of the skin, sits on top of that, and it creates like a filter or a lens that changes the color.
Yeah.
And that's why when it's in the sun, and your skin changes, like if you get a sunburn, and so it makes it look different. But
Look, I'm
But I got
about to be
white on me. I
blinded.
mean, that white's 10 years old. Still looks white, but
I mean, it's there. I mean,
Yeah,
if we
it
look
is.
close, you can see just a little bit of your skin tone on top of it, but it's like lighter than the skin on your
Yeah.
finger right next to
Mhm.
it. So you can tell the ink is definitely still there. There's still just the slightest filter from your actual skin color changing
Yeah,
it, but it's lighter than what it's the area around it. That's what we want out of white. That's what we need out of white. It doesn't need to be like white. It just needs to give us that little bit of contrast, that just a little bit lighter than what we started with.
Yep.
And the more saturated everything is around it, the more that
It
white's
pops
gonna
out,
glow.
makes it, yeah.
But
so
the,
is white, so sometimes I've seen it stay really solid, and other times I've seen it as the first element to maybe not fall out, but just
But
I think
it can
has-
fall out.
I
It
think
can-
it has to do with the pigment and the application itself. I
the
mean,
application.
yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I think, and how it's utilized, like, but I think as a whole, like white is technically something that it should fade less quickly because it's such big molecules that, get used. It takes them longer to break down
Mhm.
in UV radiation, but and most of the fading over time that happens with tattoos just kind of comes from our white blood cells that are quarantining the pigment particles from like dying off, and every time they die off they have to replace themselves, and you use a little pigment that way. But white in general, in theory, should take longer to break down than anything else. That's perfect.
Perfect.
I have like a piece that has like a bunch, like blasted with a bunch of white. That's really solid. It was I think it was a Juan Salgado piece. So there's a lot of white in tens, and and then I hear talk about how much plastic or polymer is in different types of ink or whatever. And like I heard that one has a higher amount of polymer.
I've heard that about intense too,
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure how much that is real
Yeah,
or not.
It's hearsay, but the funny thing is, so this white healed phenomenal, and then I got like a black mini portrait in the middle of it, and it healed like shit. Like, so it's just that's what I love. There's like so many different combinations. Like, we didn't even talk about like how porous is your skin. Like, if you have medical conditions, your tattoo, no matter how you pamper it, it might look ashy anyway, even if you have good skin. What about crepe skin? Like, some people their skin just won't accept it no matter what you do.
Or it expels it as it's healing. I've seen that.
Circulation issues can cause that sometimes.
Yeah.
Or people I always find like people that are like work out a lot aren't take performance enhancing anything, even just
Steroids.
pre-workout stuff that like ups the blood pressure. It's harder to get the ink in, and they tend to have a harder time healing out, even with like Sanoderm and stuff like that.
I never
I
even
didn't
thought
even
about
know that.
paying any attention to that connection.
Like I've only started noticing it just because they're the guys that look like they're obviously working out and
Mhm.
having this thing, and like tattooing, and it's like, oh, that's bleeding a little bit more than normal, and start asking the questions like.
Yeah, you would think that because they have the taut skin that it would just be easier, like in my head anyway. I think it would be easier.
yeah. Yeah, they look healthy. Everything else seems fine.
Yeah, but
Just-
again, if their blood pressure's higher and they're pumping that blood with all that, it's gonna bleed more. So, I've seen a lot of bodybuilders that, they definitely are taking steroids and they just don't heal very well. I know a couple, I'm not gonna name them.
No, well, what
I know that artists who worked on them, I'm not gonna name them, but yeah, it does happen. I mean, if you're a workout guy using steroids or whatever,
It doesn't even need to be
it's
that.
gonna
It can just
affect
be that
your-
extra caffeine.
yeah,
or
it's gonna
whatever they
affect
do in
your
pre-workout,
tattoo.
You know,
Hmm.
I mean, because that also affects your hydration level too, because you're flushing
Your
some of
your
that stuff
body.
out.
Well, Derb actually just taught us this the other day. He was explaining what creatine does, and he's like, because he's training for a match that's coming up, so he's like taking creatine, and he said that what it does is it basically takes the water from the rest of your body and puts it directly into your muscles. So what he has to be careful of is, because he's taking these supplements, he needs to make sure he's extra hydrated, because this supplement is taking water from one place and putting it elsewhere. So like, that's a little example of like, yes, you're doing this because it's good for your body and good for your muscles, but at the same time, is it really helping the rest of your body heal?
Mhm.
And that's one of the things I like to keep in mind with my clients, is like how, that's why I've never made this connection, because I've always connected it to what I'm about to say, is if your body's constantly, like if you're overdoing it to the point to where your body's putting all of its healing energy into recovering your muscles, you have less
Mhm.
white blood cells, you have less
That
you
makes
have
sense,
less
too.
to repair
Yes.
your
That makes
skin.
sense, too.
So I
Mhm.
think it's just your body can only recover from so much so fast, because we only have so many white blood cells and red blood cells, and like it takes a while to replenish those
Yes,
things.
it does.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
probably a
I'm
combination
curious
of those in
what-
these cases then too, a
Yeah.
combination of them working out and,
Mhm.
exhausting their bodies. And then on top of it, having some other
Yeah,
chemical
it
compound
never
actually
occurred
like
to me.
adjusting how their body's actually functioning.
I mean, it all adjusts how
Yeah.
their body functions.
Well, the other
So
thing
it's-
is how many do you know that you're tattooing that are actually diabetic? Because diabetics also have it, healing problems too. Takes longer for them to heal.
most of the time when I'm working on somebody that I know they're diabetic, or we happen to know they're pre-diabetic, usually I kind of adjust my aftercare from like
Yeah.
a 5-day aftercare to
A
like
little bit
2
longer,
weeks.
yeah.
Like this might take longer,
Yeah.
and there I might have like additional aftercare things that I want them to use depending on all the variable.
Because,
Things.
I've heard
Issues.
over through the years that, diabetics shouldn't get tattooed, I mean, I heard that through grapevine. So,
Mhm.
I don't know if that's actually true. I've got two artists here. So
Risk versus reward.
Yeah.
You know,
Is that
like
what it
like
is?
I think somebody that's an extreme diabetic who is already having a hard time with like open sores and stuff
Mhm.
healing, I think a tattoo is going to be the last thing that's on their
mind anyways.
Yeah.
But when you've got somebody that's got it under control, and the other thing is anytime I've got somebody that might have a variable, I make sure they've got a good way to get in touch with me like right now in case they need to. So that's another, like, when there is an added variable that can complicate the healing process, that's where as an artist I feel like I have an extra responsibility to be ultra diligent to my client, because that's my piece as much as it is theirs.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, and that's.
I mean,
right
it
on
really
those.
is up to the artist to teach their clients how to heal. I mean, I'm a different story because I've got so many hours. I know how to heal a tattoo now.
Mhm.
So again, but
I think
anyone
there's-
that's getting a tattoo should definitely listen to what their artists are saying, because they know what problems can pop up through your healing process.
Well, I think at a certain point, but I think there's a lot of artists out there at different levels that have different healing methods and have different experiences. Like you still come across people that are very anti any type of derm
Mhm.
Yeah.
wrap and stuff like that, that are very against it. And for some types of tattoos, it's really overkilling, could potentially cause some problems.
Mhm.
But for the work that I do and what Fawn does, and for
What I
most
get,
collectors and,
yeah.
and things like that, it's
it's
a
vital.
wonderful product.
It
you know,
is.
like
I mean, you before it, you definitely knew that you were going in and getting a touch up on your tattoo. You
almost,
definitely
yeah,
knew that.
there's
Now
gonna be one little
today,
spot or something.
today you may have one, like he said, one little dinky little spot, and then that's it.
Unless you have an allergic reaction to the derm, like some people have that, or some people mess with
But
it.
that reaction is usually outside the tattoo. I have
Yeah,
rarely
yeah.
seen it on the
Because
tattoo.
there's so much fluid normally coming off the
Tattoo.
tattoo, it kind of prevents that. But when I have seen it happen with the allergic reaction to the derm, there's even more fluid coming out if they have a serious reaction to it, because your body pumps more fluid
Mhm.
to get rid of that as part of its histamine response.
Right.
So
Yep.
that derm almost doesn't even stick to it. It just almost sloughs off.
Sloughs off, yeah.
The deal, like some artists say, you keep it on even after when it fills with the liquid, and like keep like after the tattoo, put it on and then take it off in 5 days. For me, I'd say, yeah, have it on, and then the next day when you shower, there's going to be the plasma. So for me, I would clean it off the next day and put it back on if I was able to do it myself, and then leave it 4 to 5 days or whatever. But like some artists say to leave it, but I'm like, but that's expelling your
But the
plasma.
plasma has antibodies in it, and that's what that is. I mean, when they designed Tegaderm, because that's what it usually was originally called, Tegaderm is for burn victims, and they would apply that as a to mimic a scab, because the problem with burn victims is they scab up
They
so
just
fast.
keep weeping.
They keep weeping,
Artificial
and what they
bruise
do
is-
is that they have to go in and just scrub them down every day, every part of their. My cousin had 80% of his body burned, so I know what he went through in that, and I heard all the stories of it. And they would just go literally before Tegaderm, go in there and every day scrub them where all their scabs were off, and then rebandage them.
Hold on, we got to rewind. So when they do this, it's even crazier. They usually have to soak them in an Epsom salt bath
Mhm.
first. And then
Loosen
what
up
they
the-
don't abrade off with like basically medical grade scouring pads, they
Yep.
take scalpels and then they scrape all of the like dead skin, because like as burns heal, they heal a little bit differently than other wounds do. So there's a lot of times you'll have tissue dying as tissue is healing.
Healing.
So they have to go in and remove that. My older brothers got burnt when I was a little kid, and that's one of my earlier memories.
And
is,
that's-
like watching them scrape my brothers with a scalpel, and it was like little skin macaronis that would roll off.
And
It's gross.
that's before they can apply the skin
The
skin
Tegaderm,
grafts.
yeah.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, burn victims, if you know you're gonna get skin grafts, that's part of the healing process. And with Tegaderm, it accelerated it, and able to get that to a point where you could
And you know
get
what?
better skin
While
grafts.
we're talking about like what this bandage was invented for, something I think this is common knowledge among tattooers, but maybe not among collectors and people that actually, I think I can take these off now, and people that actually like wear the Saniderm, is it's actually, it's semi-permeable. So that means that like oxygen can pass
Get in.
through. So it's not the same as just putting a plastic wrap on your skin. So that's
Yes.
why the adhesives in this are special. That's why the bandage itself is special, because oxygen can pass through. What happens if we don't have oxygen passing through? Now we've created the perfect barrier and the perfect breeding ground for bacteria. So that's the thing that really makes Saniderm special, is that oxygen transfer.
And it keeps water out, because the water molecule is bigger than an oxygen molecule, and that's why it's able to do that.
Yep.
And people think, well, and I go, no, that's how they designed it. It allows oxygen to get through, but any other molecule is bigger and won't get through it. And that's why it makes it a perfect barrier.
Yep, because oxygen is crucial to our
Healing.
cellular healing.
Yes.
Our cells do not heal if they don't have both oxygen being fed to them internally and also oxygen from the outside. So
That continues on after the Saniderm comes off, to not go ahead and start using heavy ointments and stuff like that continue to like cut off oxygen to the
Mhm.
flaking skin and stuff. For the new stuff to come in, you want it to be something, a moisturizer, not an
Mhm.
ointment to be used for that. Again, just for the oxygen thing.
I tend to recommend like supernatural ointments and aftercares. Like and people can disagree, and that's totally fine. But my general rule of thumb is I like my aftercare to be like, I won't like to be able to read the ingredients. If it's like sunflower oil or shea butter, or like, those are the butters that I like. And I think those are the butters.
That's why I use hustle butter
Yep.
after I'm done
It's
with. I use hustle
Mango
butter.
and shea butter. It's just
Yes.
good stuff.
Yeah, but on top of that, there is like dimethicone, which is a silicone. It's in a lot of like ointments and lotions, not in as many, but it's normally used for scar removal and scar reduction. It cuts down on
Dimethicone is what that's called?
dimethicone. Yeah,
Nice.
it's used as platelet buildup. Palmer's cocoa butter has it in there,
Okay.
and I normally use that as my go-to ointment
Nice.
when I'm tattooing. But it's really it cuts down on dead skin. Like they even use it in eczema lotions. It cuts down on that extra dead skin that built up on the surface. And so
Nice.
it kind of helps exfoliate in a much more gentle way than like using a washcloth.
What's the name of that again?
Dimethicone. It's an ingredient in a lot of different lotions and stuff, but not in so many tattoo ointments, at least that are directly marketed towards us. In fact, I don't think I've found one that has it, and that's why I use the polymers.
Yeah. I actually I've been going through the gauntlet of Hustle Butter's probably one of my favorite glides or aftercares. But I've been working my way through all the different ointments that Ink Ease offers. I just want to be knowledgeable and know what I like and what I don't like. But like Palmer's, $3 a jar, golden. It works great. Oh yeah, Palmer's is fantastic. Being a little kid that got sunburnt all the time, I'm kind of partial just to the smell of cocoa butter. I just love it.
Yeah,
It
it's
makes me
hard to
feel
tattoo
good.
when you're hungry though sometimes.
Some of these new inkies, they've got one that's bubblegum scented.
Mhm.
They've got one that's like a holiday spice. I call it my basic white girl fragrance.
Oh yeah.
They smell pretty edible. Some of them don't eat it though. Don't eat it.
Well, healing is,
Bitch.
it can be, but if,
Yeah. And what
you know,
about,
I mean, I have a routine anymore. I mean, I got 700 hours on me in tattooing time, so I got plenty of time.
It's so
healing
crazy when
time.
you're like, yeah, I got 700 hours. Like it's a casual, normal thing.
So I just, my whole point is that, you learn what works for you. I mean, for me, Tegaderm, Sanoderm, whatever you want to call it, has been the best so far. I mean, I've used other things. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, initially it was like the old school way. You try to dry heal and that. And for me, that's not good. I scab up too much and that's never a good thing.
there was
when Randy
Aquaphor and A&D, those
Yeah,
were
I was
only
that
two
was
options like
yes. And
15,
so
20 years ago.
when I met Randy and Randy tattooed me that first time and he put that on there and the results of how it healed and how great it looked after it's healed, I was convinced, and I haven't stopped using it since. I probably got more tattoo healing time than anyone in Sanoderm, and I still think it's the best. There were other products out there. There's an Inky's product that they spray on that it works. It works well. It was on a spot that wasn't good for me to put it on. It was my foot, which moves too much, and that stuff don't have as much give as Sanoderm, or there used to be this product called Skin Lock, which you would apply it and then you would spray the stuff on that would harden it, but not too hard, just enough to be flexible in that. And that gave you a nice heal too. I wish that company was around because that's good for bendy spots like ditches. I wanted that for my neck because, you move your neck a lot, but they're out of business now. So, but apparently they're coming back. I'm not for sure,
Okay.
but I've heard that they're coming back.
Okay.
Be nice.
Maybe different marketing team, try to push it along,
But
get a little more momentum.
those are the only other healing that I have tried. And
Did you try the Tat Wax one?
no.
That was pretty decent for like the bendy spots, because like you said, for some of the
Ditches.
yeah, some of the Sanoderm or the alternative products, it's not going to stay on hinges. Like if you
No.
try and put it on an elbow, it's just not going to work out. And
Well, for me, when I used Sanoderm on my knee ditch with Megan to the Satiable is that it felt like it was cutting into me. So I had to take it off. Well, I just happened to have Skin Lock at the time. So I just used that at that point and realized, well, that's way much better than trying to put Sanoderm there. Because, it bunches up, you're walking in that and it just don't feel right in that ditch. So I didn't want to damage my tattoo. So that's why I figured, well, I'll take it off, put Skin Lock on and see how it does. And it worked. So, but you have to be diligent about when you heal though. You can't be lackadaisical about it. You can't go, well, I'll get to it the next day, because that's when the bug will get in, and then that's when you're going to have your infection.
or dog hair, and then
Yeah.
and then you see some pus, and then you start to get a little alarmed, and what the fuck is this shit? Like,
Yeah. I mean,
freaking out,
my
like-
first session with Megan, when I healed, when we did the first session on my neck, I healed bad for that. I had
But
parts of
just
it that
one side,
fell
right?
right completely out. I mean, there was, that one is because I couldn't get Sanoderm to stick. So I thought, well, maybe I could get it to, if I kept on showering it and getting it, cleaning it, kept on top of it. It was good for like 3 days. And then 4 hours later, after I washed it, a scab came up on it and I could never get rid of that scab. Because I'm afraid to pull it off and pull everything with it. So,
Yeah, but
I mean,
dude,
what do you do?
yeah.
Do you pull that scab off and hope that you can keep it from
Yes.
taking that, or do you leave it there and
I'll tell
watch
you
it
why.
pull all the goddamn ink out anyways? I don't. I'm sort of at a loss for that when that happens. I mean, I'm towards the end of it, so it's not as big of a deal, but it is something.
I
that,
tell my clients, be patient, don't pick. I know you want to, just leave it there. If the scab happens, here's the thing, try to avoid it. But if it happens, just be patient. Don't scratch at it. Don't, because like sometimes the scab will just fluff off and it's going to be totally
and it don't
fine.
draw the ink out.
But
for
other
me,
times that scab is going to be deeper than you think it is. And it's going to pull out a lot more fresh skin
Yeah, you
cells
gotta
than you think it
determine
is.
how
Yeah.
what kind of a scab it is, because I waited too long, and when it finally came off, like, so we're talking about the bottom of my foot. So it was after like a month.
Well, this is atypical skin on your foot to begin with.
Yeah, so that's why, for context, like, so it's the side bottom of the foot, and I waited too long. So when I took the scab off, there was like no ink under it. But you also, obviously, you don't want to have scabs to begin with, but it happens. So
It does happen.
I'm with you. Like, you don't touch it if it's on normal skin. If it's like atypical, I think it might draw it out less, but it's like, it's debatable. That's why I enjoy talking about it, because so many, like,
Well, and there's also a difference between the person who is a compulsive picker and just can't leave their tattoos alone and they want to pick off every single little skin flake because they think it's a scab. Some of that is actually
I'm not
like,
too afraid to do
Yeah,
that, man. That's all.
gotta
Why would
think
you
of-
do that?
gotta
I'm
think
so
of
afraid of doing
that
that.
skin that's still sticking there, like that outer layer. Yes, it has been damaged. Yes, it is dead skin. Yes, it will come off. But in the meantime, it's offering you a layer of protectivity to that tattoo.
it's like a scale, you know?
Mhm.
But again, for me, it draws the ink out. Every time that I've had a scab, like, and you see it on this one, I still haven't, that was scab.
Mhm.
And it was, it was more like that with these. I've lost all my yellow and my oranges out of it over time. That's just time on you. But yeah, it took almost all the color out of it. And when you get scabs like that, you end up developing scar tissue, and sometimes it's harder for the artist to go back and retouch that up because of that scar tissue. That's another thing.
That
So
actually,
that's where,
talks
like,
about.
as artists, as we go, like, the longer I work, the more I feel like I know how far I can push it in the ditches and in the stretchy areas and the areas that are prone to scabbing more. Like, the more well-versed I become as an artist, the more I'm like in tune to know what will and won't scab.
Well, and that comes with experience. I try to tell people, I mean, an artist, if they're 5 years or under, they are still going to have problems with healing and applying your tattoo. They just don't have enough experience and enough skin to come back to judge what they're doing. I mean, that takes experience.
you need time. You need 10
You
years
need time to see all that. I mean, you need at least 8 years. Like, I've come to the conclusion that once an artist is at 8 years, they've seen it all. They know enough about the skin that they're pretty much at the top of their game at that point, where they're comfortable. They know what they're doing. And
I still don't know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for almost 20 years.
He's like, I'm just winged it today.
Yeah, no. No, I mean, like, yeah, 8 years is, I would say, a solid time where there's a lot of knowing. But I think that really depends upon what they're doing too, style wise, and what they've changed and how much they've been paying attention systematically to what's going on. Like, I think I think for artists in general, artists at a certain level that are specialized and whatnot, they I think have paid more attention and done everything else. But I think at a street shop level, still at the 8-year mark, maybe, maybe not. You know, you still kind of playing a little gamble there.
But
But
I feel like with the point that Todd's making is by the time you're 7 or 8 years in, you've seen tattoos come back that are 5 and 6 years healed.
Mhm.
And that's where it really makes a difference. A tattoo that's 1 year old or 2 or 3 years old, you're going to learn a lot. But by the time you see a color tattoo come back that has been worn and in the summer, in the
Aged.
sun for 5 or 6 years, that's going to tell you what that tattoo will look like for the whole rest of that tattoo's life.
and it might even change the way you go at another tattoo later on. You
Mhm.
know, you know what's going to hold and what's not. You know, so
That's another.
you might adjust that way too. So you know that's why I say that it's better for them after 8 years.
Demographics is a huge factor. I mean, if I lived in California, my bodysuit would be a whole different story. So, like, we talk about
Hey,
like,
yeah, we call you Cholo Chuck.
there you go. Gringo Loca. But I'm telling you, like, so there's different styles, there's different cultures, like
Yes.
West Coast, East Coast, and black and gray and color, and the amount of sun. Like I have friends that are artists in Texas that are predominantly color, and they say, you know, like there's a ton of like traditional American traditional color, but beyond that, it's there's the culture is traditionally American traditional. The same way on the West Coast, it's predominantly like the black and gray.
Chicano style.
Yeah, which is great too. I mean, so that's also like a whole. It's like what is that? The anti. I can't say the name. It's one of the first computer they ever found that's thousands of years old.
Oh, the Antikythera mechanism.
Yes.
So I feel like each one of that, we all play our own part, and it's like in order to get this tattoo, you have to do don't get arrested on the way to the airport. Like there's so many interchangeable locks and like options, and like do not go here, proceed this way, you'll fuck up your tattoo. Like this pitfall, you won't even make it. You know, don't get too drunk before your sesh. You know, there's all these things like don't take,
I think you're accidentally designing a board game.
yeah.
It's like
feel a
tattoo shoots and
monopoly.
ladders.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, nah, like I get so
Did you sit
hyped.
on that toilet in the airport with a fresh tattoo? Oh, you fall down your chute 3 levels.
Oh man. Yeah, you go back 2 points if you got to do that.
Right.
To the board.
But it's
Yeah.
all part of the excitement and like one interesting thing that I'm seeing now is some like girls that I follow on Instagram. They're like going ham, getting tattooed almost every day. But I guess because they're all following each other, it's all just like the outlines of traditional stuff. And like I've just recently, like in the last
Why?
few days, noticed that it's like I'm like, what? It's like a phenomenon. Like these like Instagram models or whatever. I don't know, loosely call it that, whatever. But they're all getting like a lot of tattoos, but like small black and gray ones. That
Haven't you noticed when we were at Empire, when the models come in there to get tattooed, that it's always the fine line, little thin stuff that they get, little sayings or something like that. They never get a full blown tattoo. It's always that trendy little.
Well, sometimes people are scared. You go to a convention, you don't know what kind of caliber of experience they have at conventions. So like you might be embarrassed, like, oh, what if I pass out? Like, what if I can't sit through it? What if I start crying or piss my pants and pass out halfway through the tattoo? You know, but like, yeah, I know. You know, but there's so many variables, and that's what makes it like never get boring. The same exact fucking way gambling and poker is still exciting.
Yeah, because it's always a different outcome.
That's
Yeah, I
it.
love
That's
that.
why I love getting tattoos.
Oh my God, look at who finally showed up, man.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on, Ben?
Oh, you know, living the dream. How's your guys' day?
It's going good.
Chuck's
Feel like
working
I'm
his way through
interrupting,
that bottle
sorry.
of Crown.
Yeah, we're almost
I'm
about ready to wrap
celebrating.
this up soon here. We've been
Got
on for a
tattooed
bit.
yesterday.
What are you celebrating?
I finished so the entire bodysuit. The last unfinished tattoo, I finished it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. That is
And
definitely worth celebrating.
With Chris Garver like on top of it too. It's like
Nice.
you know, on top of the world right now.
Hell yeah.
You know, I don't know if I attribute it to like all the Crown Royal or but it's like it's almost like when you level up and you get to the end of like Mario and you got like Bowser, whoever the last guy is, and you beat him and then there's that last like fucking flag and I'm just like I just feel like on top of the moon. I feel literally like godlike. I mean like it's a 25-year like
Hell yeah.
you know everyone's
journey, dude. I mean,
everyone's journey is different. You know, it could have been quicker, it could have been I could have drawn it out longer, but like after COVID and like some near-death experiences, I was like, I don't want to die with like an 80%, 85% done bodysuit. Let's just kick it into overdrive and do like 3 sessions a week and go with it for like a year and a half.
I'm older, so if I don't make it, I can say, well, you just ran out of time.
Oh, you'll get there. You get there. You got
Yeah, I'm guessing at the pace you're running, Todd, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I know I am, but it's
Now,
just
you get
saying.
tattooed every day too, Todd.
No, I have to plan this shit out, man. I just can't do that.
Just
I'm not that spontaneous.
Listen,
No,
you do a handful of edibles, it'll be fine.
No, I'm not that spontaneous. Sorry.
Come on.
No. No.
But you
I've
did
been
do-
lazy as of lately. I got to get back at it. I feel like I've got a lot of open appointments and a lot of unfinished business I need to
But,
get
you know,
wrapped up.
I love it. Like I talk with some artists and they're like they're like they're getting their back worked on by like Robert Hernandez, and I'm like, yo, get on that shit. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, but it hurts. And
I'm like,
I
well, what the
know,
fuck do you think
motherfucker,
we're
just
going
do
through,
it.
man? I mean, seriously.
Suck it out. I'm like, no, but I'm too enthusiastic to the point where I have to like tone it down so I'm not annoying about it, because like sometimes, you know, if you're like friends with artists, sometimes they go out and tattoos are the last thing they want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I get that too. So you kind of gotta.
Yeah, Johnny's going, yeah, that's the last one, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, like a few of my artists are collectors too, and like Megan, she makes you feel bad if you can't sit good. Well, I did it. That's the first thing she tells you. I did it. What do you mean you can't?
I mean, I say if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
But
It's a fun way to encourage. Yeah, like when I go to conventions and I see like the people getting tattooed are miserable as fuck, and they could barely like mask their face.
Yeah, but it's a different when you got a woman telling you that. You go, well, I can do it. It's like you got to
So,
go like
when we
man up
were-
for it.
when we were in Cleveland a few weeks ago for the Villain Arts show, there was a guy getting worked on by Jersey. And he was doing a whole back piece on him, traditional Japanese, and he was just working on the outline of it. And I don't mean to say just to make it was a challenging back piece that he was
Yes.
working on. And the guy that I put my camera down and I like had to offer him some words of encouragement, because like you could tell he was feeling it and he wanted to be done with the session. But Jersey's like, we got to get this outline on here today. We got to get it. We got to get the outline committed. Then we can discuss what's next.
Then you're good.
It's
You
like
just
a
gotta get it-
marathon. It's not a like. I mean, if you're trying for a suit, it's a marathon because
Mhm.
of all the things. But yeah, the same thing yesterday. When I met up with Michael Perry, like he had a client. He was doing the ribs, and the guy was like dying, and I was like, cheer up, dude. Like I already did it, and now I'm already like over the subject matter and want to redo that exact spot. So like.
It's so funny when it's one of those like when I was like offering this guy like comforting words, like I could hear it in his voice, like, you don't know what you're talking about, get away from me. And like Jersey realized who he was, and he was like, no, she's gotta really nice large bag piece. And I like showed it to him and he was like, oh, all right. And I was like, if I can do it, you can do it. And like he buckled down and like it's like that, just like knowing that I wasn't like making fun of him. You know what I mean? I think it felt like I was making fun at first, like, buck up, soldier. You asked for it, take it. Like that doesn't help anybody in any situation.
Oh,
But when it's like, nah, man, it hurts. I feel for you. I remember what it was like. And
You'll get
if
through it.
I can do it, you can do it. Like
Yeah.
when
it's
it's
like you're a dick if you didn't already endure that, and then
Right.
you're like, "Come on, soldier, giddy up!"
Nope.
But, like, you
Nope.
did it, so it's fine.
But when you've done it, you're adding like camaraderie to their experience. Like, no. I did it. You did it. Come on. Join the league. You can do it too.
Yeah, I had a similar situation like that at Motor City this year where a guy was getting his ribs done and I went up to him. I'm going, it sucks, but you'll get through it. And he was looking at me like I had my coat on, so I wasn't, you could just see my hands and my neck when my coat on, you can't really see it. So he must have thought I'm just some little dick. And I go, no, dude, I know what you're going through. Trust me. So I lift up my shirt and I go like that. And I go, see, and I go, trust me, you'll get through it. Just relax.
It's
Just let
a
it go
few
through.
hours. It's not. This isn't forever. Like this moment feels like forever.
It
like,
sucks. I mean, I'm guaranteed it sucks. I mean, but you'll survive it. We all do.
You're not gonna die from getting
Yeah.
it. Nobody's died from getting a tattoo.
Well, you never feel like you're gonna die when you're getting it. It's just the accumulation and the
feel like you
torture
want to.
of
No,
it.
you just the thing is you're like not repulsed, but like you want to just. It's funny when I see them getting further and further away from the machine. I'm sure I was like that for the back of the neck, where I probably just kept moving more and more forward and away from it. After like hour 5, 6, 7, like
Megan,
There was
Megan
definitely a
told me-
moment
yeah,
when I
when
was-
Megan was working on the back of my neck, she literally grabbed my head and pulled me back.
I
You're
thought-
moving away. She grabbed my hair and pulled me back. I mean, seriously. Well, we're
There was
friends, so
definitely a moment
it's
when I was
not
getting
like
my ribs done that distinctly remember leaning into the massage chair, trying to escape, just get a little bit further.
Yeah. No, but the thing
Nah.
is, the only way to get through it is just
endure it.
there's no shortcut. That's what I love about. There is cheating these days, but like just get through it. Like just mentally, like focus on your breathing.
But I know you say it's cheating, but then again, it's allowed us to endure longer sessions.
Yeah, if that's
I mean,
that's what it
before
takes.
nothing or back team was really where most artists were using it. I mean, the most I was sitting was 5 hours. That was it. But when nothing came about in that doubled. I could sit 10,
I
15
do have
hours.
to admit, there is something that always kind of like confuses me and perplexes me. So like when I am having a rough session, one of the things that helps me get through it is the whole like, I deserve this. I deserve this.
Yeah, you deserve
Like,
to be
I-
punished because you're
I
an
put
idiot.
these
for
other
making
people
this
through
damn
it.
appointment.
Exactly,
No, no,
man.
no,
That's
no,
what I
no,
said, right? I'm going, man.
It's one of those like I put my clients through grueling sessions.
You put
So
them through hell.
if I can't sit through what I'm asking my clients to do on a daily basis, shame on me.
Yeah. No,
So
I'll
there's
agree
like
with that.
there's
Yeah.
this for me, because I'm a tattooer, because I work in such long sessions with my clients, it's almost like I have to remove the option of tapping out because I don't give some of my clients that option. Like some of my clients literally tap out and it's like, no, you're not done.
Like,
You know what I mean?
down.
No, it's like I'm communicating with your body right now, and your body is telling me you've got a little bit
fine.
more gas in your tank, and we're gonna get to our goal for the day. You know what I mean? Like there are times where
Yeah.
clients
I
do
mean-
tap out, and I'm like, not yet.
You're not seeping yet.
Just
Shut up.
Not yet.
I feel
Deep
karmically
in?
I can't do that anymore. It's just to like go like, nope. If they want to tap, I don't feel like forcing anybody to do it. Like, that's fine. At
Yeah.
the same point in time, I tried to get around that by booking a lot more double day sessions for people traveling now. So they're
Mhm.
locked in and they can't tap because they got to sit for 12 to 14 hours over 2 days.
Well,
So,
Yeah.
and those are the
You know.
those are the days where like instead of letting my client tap, instead of that, then I turn into almost like a doula. Then it's almost like I'm almost like your tattoo Lamaze coach. And it's like as I'm working, I'll start talking a little bit more softly and I'll start like, okay, now just breathe. And I'll just like talk them through every breath.
Well,
And
How
like,
about at conventions when someone's like freaking out? With like Jesse,
it's when you turn up the headphones
I-
louder and don't pay attention.
like
good
someone
strategy, compassionate.
pays for like a day or two and they leave like their belongings at the booth and then just ghost after like prepaying. Like there's all sorts of like psychological. I mean, we've seen people, our friends have like burst out in tears. Like when some people try like, you
it
know,
depends on how wrapped up you get into it before you go. I mean, you can work yourself into a frenzy and scare yourself so much.
it's better that way. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that
I
when
mean,
you
to
do
me,
it,
I-
it's not as bad.
when I go into, I mean, when I go to a tattoo session, I think it's going to be my worst tattoo session ever, because
yeah,
that's how I deal with the pain. Because when it don't come to that and it's a lot easier, it makes it that much easier for me to get through it.
but
I
what
mean,
if it does
really,
match
you should,
the
if
work?
you go in, when you go into a tattoo session, you should expect the most extreme pain possible. And then when you get through it and you're going through it and it's not that, it's such a relief, and it actually gives you more endurance to go through it, because you realize that I'm not going to be sitting here the whole time just being tortured. I mean, that was my worry with my neck when I started it. I mean, you know, I've heard stories that your neck hurt, you know.
Yeah, I
mean,
wish I
it's-
could have been there to antagonize. Nah, I mean cheer you on. But I was getting my neck tattooed at the
I
same
know
time.
we were doing it at the same time, so it
Yeah.
was impossible. We're in the same city, and he's getting tattooed with Garver, and I'm getting tattooed at Megan and Ink. So
I think
yeah,
we both get both sides in
Yes.
like 2 days in a row, or like
yeah, we
random.
did.
And how many years did I bust your ass? Like, so when you're gonna do your neck? Like you're like, nah, never.
Don't act like you made me do it, because you
I
did.
made you do it. No, I'm
No,
kidding.
you didn't. No, you
I
didn't.
wore you
It was-
down a little bit. You said
No,
never. for
well, I
years.
did that, but you know, it was at the point where, you know, I ain't got much room left. I wanted something, you know,
Never say never.
after I did the cover up with the psychedelic that Megan did with the acid trip and the acid sheet on my back, you know, I go, maybe I want to do a little bit more psychedelic things on me. So the neck was the obvious choice. So we went with that.
Yeah.
You know, I ain't got much room left. I got armpits left, and
I'll find
a
scraps
little bit on
for
my
you.
side, and that's it.
I'll make sure you fill in the booty cheek.
I go back and forth with doing my neck.
No, I'm
all
done
the
with
time.
that.
'Cause
That's
part of me's
done.
like, you know, yeah, I've got enough. I've proven my point. I've done it all. And then
Nah.
part of me is like,
Nah.
but it's just your neck.
It's just your neck. It's the cream. It's the cream of the crop.
It's like the cherry. That's what it was. I mean, the way Megan and I talked about it, it was going to be the crown of the suit, and it worked out that way. You know,
Maybe I'll look at it that way when
I
we get
never had a
closer to being
plan on
done.
how I was going to do it anyways. I mean, when I go into a tattoo, it's decided then. I don't actually have this huge idea that I had brewing for years. It's just something that pops in my mind. I mean, the acid sheet was that I figured it was, I knew that Megan was going to do a color up. I knew what colors I wanted. I knew that they work with the cover up. And that's why we did the way we did.
Are you good
but-
with that? The original artist now? Remember the controversy?
Oh, hey, that's, you know, and again, no offense, but you know, it was on a Google search that I seen that at, and we decided that we would modify it. And
Yeah, when you
it's not
see
the
something
same
you
thing.
like, it doesn't matter if it's on Google or a
I know.
picture you take on like out on your own.
But again, it's not the exact copy of it. It's been changed and
Right.
altered. And that.
Yeah,
It
that
just
was lost.
inspired.
Lost in the translation from
Yeah.
underground.
but we gave her credit after it. And that, I mean, once I found out who it actually was in
Yeah,
that, I
you
mean,
would have never not credited if you had known.
no, it wasn't never about that. I mean,
Then
you
her
know,
followers came
but
after
her
you.
but her
That
followers
was
are like,
wild.
I'm like, wow, what's up with that? You know, I mean, I love her work. I mean, I'm not even criticizing her work at all whatsoever. What are you guys jumping on me for?
You got her work that like inspired by on you, and then her followers were attacking you. It was like
Yeah,
the
it's like,
craziest thing I've ever seen.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, seriously, you know, I mean, I'm one of the ones that believe you should give the artist credit. I do, you know. But again, we live in a world that's digital. There's so many Google things out there and that. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. How with these girls that are just like seeing what the next one has, and maybe not getting the same exact one, but inspired by and getting something similar. And I guess like if that's what you like, and you're just I what I just think is a shame is that if you're like young and you're rushing into it and you're like late teens, early 20s, and you just have like someone local that's just gonna do all your walk-in. So you're basically not like a Friday the 13th sleeve, but something similar where it's just like a lot of outline work and like that just seems to be what's trending for.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I mean, I had the 2 tattoos on my back before I started back 11 years ago. And when I started back up on it, I mean, I went hog wild. I mean, I had the one piece on my thing and then I did another one on my shoulder and then they morphed into sleeves and, you know, I
Yeah,
just
you
kept on
started
going
with
and
Joe,
going.
right?
But again, yeah, and my learning curve was a lot different. I'm older. I can afford things in that, you know, I'm just doing things when I was 45, like if I was an 18-year-old.
What
You
would
know, I
you
just
what
did it
would you
later.
do different if you had started now? What would you tell yourself when you're like 20, 25 and have like a couple bucks to get tattooed? Like if you could talk to yourself 20, 25 years
That's a
ago
great
before.
question.
Well, that's
Chuck.
just it. It's, you know, you don't go into this thinking you're going to be a suited up tattooed guy. You know, I never, when I did it, I wanted a few rad pieces and that was it. You know, but once you get those, you get addicted to it and you want more and more and more. So, you know,
So then what
the only thing that I would say to my younger self would be is if I knew that I was going to do what I did now, I would say, slow down, pick artists right off the bat that you admire and that, not just walk into a shop. And it's no offense to the two artists
those
that I
who
walk
do,
into the
yeah.
shop because I like those guys. I like Joe Riley. Joe Riley's a great biomechanical artist. He's a great guy. I like Joe. And then Jason Peacher, who's retired now, who did this arm. You know, I walked into King Ink and seen his work, and that's how I picked it. You know, I mean, that's how you figure it out, you know. And then I discovered Instagram and follow, you know, I'm not Instagram, but you know,
Yeah,
the web and
Facebook
that, and then started looking at other artists up. You know, I mean, I always looked at tattoo magazines and that, but you know, there's no contact info in any of those things. We had this conversation earlier about it and that. So
What about you, Chuck? What advice would you give 22-year-old Chuck? About your
you know what? I was doing some self-reflection. And it's actually, I don't know if it's odd, but probably similar to Todd, just to take your time, just because the older you get, I tell myself this often, like the older you get, the better your ideas get, the more articulate. It doesn't mean doesn't have to mean more detailed, but what it means is like the further down you go, the rabbit hole of tattooing, you realize once you realize like how far you could push it. And sure, you could get the most detailed thing ever, but how is it going to look? So once you start to like really get into it, I would say the biggest thing is to take your time. That's kind of why I joke around with Toddy. Like I've known him forever. We joke around. I keep
Yes.
hurry up with their neck. He busts my chops. He sees a spot the size of a nickel and is like,
Yeah, I'm always saying it. I mean, we have fun together. I mean,
yeah,
we're friends,
we
you
have
know.
fun
I
with
mean,
it. Like you can't always bust people's chops about like we're all on our own like speed and terms, and some people don't want to get body
and
slapped.
it's not a race. Again, it's not
Yeah.
a race. I mean, you know, you finish when you finish.
Yeah, like
There's no set time frame that you need to finish that suit on this X date. I mean, I don't have a date.
I actually told myself, I was like, if I keep this girlfriend, I'm not gonna have enough to finish this suit by the spring. So she had to go. So maybe I'm sorry, but yeah, it's true.
I'm
She-
sitting there going, seriously, did he just say that?
No, and I just finished
New
yesterday.
priorities.
Listen,
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
So,
I'm seriously.
you know, I'm like a nomad. I don't have like too many friends anymore. I don't have any family. I'm like completely alone and adrift at it. So it's like in my life, like however social media, oh, like he's popular, he's doing this and that. No, I spend most of my time alone. So the thing is, I have a lot of time to ruminate over tattoo ideas and to really take my time to get it right now
Yeah.
versus 20 years ago. So I got some tattoos that I actually didn't want or didn't like, and it was because I was a people pleaser. I just like I wanted to get shit done. I was hyped to get tattooed, and like I don't want to disappoint them. And like now that I've grown as a person, I realize like I never had boundaries until probably this year. So I realized the situation, and it's like I can spend all my savings on myself, or like if I don't, then this other person's going to spend all of my money on themselves. So it kind of helps that, and like making fun of my ass not being tattooed made it so I'm
All the
like,
Yeah.
motivation he
I'm
needed.
like,
Yes.
oh, that's it. And what sucked was I even had like a session booked for her birthday with Chris. And she was joking like, oh, maybe we have to get better, like get back together before then. And it's like, all right, let's see some effort. If not, like I have now, Todd will tell you, I'm still like a maniac, but like before I was more so. Like I couldn't like
I mean, he
put a
would
lid on
literally
it.
at conventions track down artists and go, "Can I get tattooed while this at this time? You know, I got a little spot for you." And he would literally go to artists and get little things done. I mean, like the little arrowhead he got at, it was at Hell City, wasn't it?
No, that was Mike Chambers at the I went to Philly when he was doing the opening event. So I got a flash.
Oh, that's right there. That's that one there. But there was
No,
someone else that you got something at Hell City the one time. You did 3 days at Hell City.
yeah, I got Nick Baxter. The guy
Yeah.
didn't like what Nick drew, and I was just telling Nick 5 minutes before, like, yo, if anyone ever backs off and I'm at the convention and you don't have a client, I got you, like 100%. You know what I mean? And then
As luck would have it.
few minutes later, he's like, the guy didn't like his design. What do you want? I'm like, I don't know. Let's just do something cool. And it was like an awesome tattoo. Like Todd was there. He was getting I don't remember who you were getting tattooed by. Was that Dan Hank?
That might have been when Dan was working on
Might
me
have been,
then.
because I
Yeah.
also got that
Yeah.
Andreas Acosta the next day. Or I don't know. I'm getting the days mixed up, but like I just try and maximize it. So like get tattooed by the artists that you admire that are far away. And when you're all in the proximity, figure out how to get your money correct. Like,
Yeah.
one way, I mean, I sold my Rolex for that weekend, and I also had Kyle Cotterman booked for that weekend, but he got sick or only did a day or two, and then he canceled. And but I also didn't I get Dan Plumley that weekend too?
Yes.
Or then-
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So rest in peace, Dan. Like,
Mhm.
Mhm.
you know, like I just like I think you'll get through the pain. Now that I'm like pretty much done with the suit, whatever, we'll see about the head. I just got to figure out, I don't want to do the head and then want to do the face and be like, it's too crowded. You know what I mean? Like,
See, I
Take
knew
your
he was
time.
going. Yeah,
Take
just
your
take time. We actually,
Yeah.
and that
I'm
brings us to the point
yeah,
we're almost
that's
out
the
of
thing.
time.
Take your time, figure it out. I'm sure by like, I'm gonna take some. I might get like 10 tattoos next weekend. We'll see. But then I'm gonna take a break after like 10 or 12 more. I already literally have a list for the New York convention next week of like 10 artists that I want to get tattooed by. Like if Robert Hernandez can do
You're a maniac, man.
that, I mean, yeah, I'm not for everybody. People try to keep up, and I'm like,
Oh, I love it. I wasn't mad at it. I'm just saying you.
I'm definitely a maniac. Like Todd's like, how many people have fallen to the wayside over like the last 15 years? They're like, you know, I think someone's got to keep the infectious like enthusiasm going, you know, and that's definitely me because
Well, that's one of them. I mean, there's only been a few of us that have actually kept on going every year. There's been a few collectors out there that we know that have got breaks in their time, and that a few of them, a lot of it sometimes financial, other reasons. I'm not criticizing any of them because again, this is not a race.
that's why I have a piecemeal body.
But there's for all intents and purposes,
not too many. Who besides us is, and Yolzi, there's I mean Chris Longo is that one.
well, there's Chris, but Chris is a different story all on his own. But I don't like bringing his name up. We know the kid, what we're talking about.
Nah, but he's only halfway done.
Yeah, that's true too. But again, Ty Dollars,
Okay.
he's done. I mean, if there's anyone that went hog wild quicker than any of us, it's Ty.
You got covered
Quickly.
with nice,
Yeah.
nice stuff. too.
Amazing work. I mean, if there's people that don't know who Ty Dollars is, look him up. And he's got a lot of
You'll recognize his work.
Carlos. Yes, what he's got on him.
He's got
Carlos
Victor
Torres. He's
too,
got
right?
Josh Stuffy. He's got Victor Portugal. I think Bob Tyrell tattooed on him one time.
So he blazed through it, but he's only got a
Yes.
few artists. So
Yes.
that's another thing. I had a set mind to get tattooed by at least 100 artists because I wanted to slow down the process and not be like Ty Dollars and be like, I like, no offense, but I knew for me, like I wanted the longevity.
We can't get high, Ben. We're in the studio and we're just being friendly to John here. So, you doing that, I'm like, we want to do this to you. Well, actually, though, we need to start wrapping this up. Johnny's been great for letting us in here and everything else.
Thanks
We
for
want to
coming,
thank
guys.
you.
Do you wanna-
for do-
Pump the art show this weekend one more time.
Yeah, doing our open house. Our open house. Our studio is normally locked. We'll be opening the doors 4 to 9 this Saturday. So come on by, check out some artwork, introduce
Mhm.
yourself to everybody.
It's a
and,
beautiful studio. You
yeah, check
guys
out the
will be
space.
very impressed.
Sorry,
if
I
you
was
come.
late and
Check
missed
it out.
the tour. I regret it. I'll have to come out and see it sometime.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely
it's a nice little studio he has here. It really is.
Mhm.
I was one of the first to get tattooed in it, so I've watched it develop over time, and it's been really great. He's got a nice little crew here. He's got Steve Pelkey here, which is and
Who
you
is
know
Steve?
if you're into
Who's
horror
that?
tattoos, that guy's
Grab
coming
him
on
out.
top of his game. He
He's,
does amazing work. If you're a horror tattoo fan, look him up because you'll definitely not be disappointed.
That's true.
And if you like space and whatever, Johnny's your man. I mean, Johnny can, he does, there's like 3 or 4 great space artists out there, and Johnny's one of them.
Oh, thanks, man.
Definitely for sure. He's earned a spot to be recognized with one of them.
Yep, absolutely.
Like Ben Kaliski, what is that his name?
Yeah,
The
something like
Russian-
that. Close enough.
Yeah, he's one of them. There's
John Blue is pretty good.
And
too.
Ink by Saga is one of
Mhm.
them. I actually love Ink by Saga's work. He's a great guy too. On top of it, a great human being. And then there's a couple other ones that just escape.
I mean, Fawn Space stuff's kind of slack.
Rick's, Jesse
I tried.
Ricks. There's Jesse Ricks. There's another one.
He's
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
I joke.
Yeah, he's okay, I guess. Yeah, but no, serious. Jesse Ricks is amazing. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
he's got his own style doing space with the geometric designs and incorporated in it. I really love his work. So there you go. We've had a great time being in the studio. I'm glad Johnny let us in. We've been wanting to get on the road and start doing these podcasts, and we're going to start doing it even more. So
Yep.
I hope you
Yeah,
guys
we'll
enjoy it.
stay with you guys. Sounds like a good time. I'm a
Yeah.
little
Next time,
nervous.
I got a big enough van we can all fit.
Yeah.
So
Should just do
Sounds
it for the
good.
band.
Yeah, right.
we could.
We could.
We totally could.
We thought about it too, about doing that. pulling
Scooby
up
Show.
with it.
Can we call it the Scooby Show, please?
Yes. Yes. We can make it happen.
Scooby Doo.
All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. I think we've had a fantastic discussion. I think next week there's a high likelihood that we might be having the hand and neck tattoo talk.
Well, and then we'll be, me and Chuck will be at Empire. So we will be touring Empire as they're setting up there.
Excellent.
So, you have that to look forward to. We can hopefully talk to some artists as we're walking through,
Nice.
see how things go.
Nice.
Yeah,
Sounds like there's
those
gonna
are
be.
the best ones. The hands and the neck. I mean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
what you want to make sure that
Yeah,
that's
we
what
all
you're
got
leading with.
Killer neck and hand tattoos. So, yeah.
All right. Well, John, thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you,
We
John.
will definitely catch up again. Everybody else, thanks for joining in, and we will see you all next week.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Later,
Take
homies.
care. See ya.
Peace, guys.
Later.